Hello and welcome back to KeithTalks. My name is Keith and I will be your host. If you have not watched the first 9 or so episodes, that's all right. You don't really have to. It's just, I'm just gonna talk about my feelings pretty much. That's what we do here. A little bit of backstory. I'm a 20-something-year-old new dad, and I've lived in a small town my whole life. I'm a mechanic, and I'll just be talking about my life. So I went on a little bit of a hiatus, both because of my, personality and because I lost interest and because I don't know. I feel like sometimes I run out of things that I want to talk about to people, so then I just don't talk to people for a while, and I think that I did that with the podcast. So, not that anybody's tuning in to listen to this like it's their favorite show or anything, but that's where I've been, is I hyperfixate on something for a few weeks and then I lose interest and then I lose things to talk about too, and that doesn't help. No one will probably ever see this, but there is a lost episode of the Keith Talks where I talk about some of my favorite things, and it was the least interesting thing I've ever listened to. So I did not keep that one. I decided to refrain from sharing that one with the world. But welcome back to the grand reopening of Keith Talks. I'm glad that you can make it. I'm glad to be here. A lot has changed in my life, I think that the last time we talked, my daughter was, she was starting to develop her personality, but man, she is so funny. There are times where she will just hear me say something and she will just start giggling like crazy. Like, I'll just say ow and she will just go crazy. So that's how my daughter is. She's been good. She's always had this issue though where she has trouble pooping. I think I talked about it before. So we went to the doctors last week and they put her on some new it's called like Miralax or something. It's basically just like a laxative, but I guess it's sensitive for babies. But I don't know. I didn't even know that this was like a thing, but my friend said that his baby had the same issue when she was young. So I have no idea. I don't know. I had never heard of baby constipation like that, but whatever. We've done it twice. We've given it to her twice, and she has pooped once, but we only gave it to her the second time yesterday, or maybe, I think it was just yesterday, yeah. So that's where my baby girl is at, the love of my life, the best thing that's ever happened to me. And my wife and I, we are also in a really good place, I would say. If you've ever had a baby with someone, you know that the first year is not necessarily the easiest thing to go through, but she makes it very easy, and I love her to death, and I couldn't do it without her whatsoever. I know that going to work every day sucks, but man, I don't think that my brain could withstand being home with my beautiful baby girl every single day, all day long, and waking up with her in the middle of the night if she has to wake up. And luckily she's really good about that. She's been sleeping from like 9:30 at night until like, I don't know, 6:37, 7:30 sometimes when I go to work normally. So yeah, we can't really complain about that, but I still appreciate my wife more than I can put into words. I really couldn't do it without her. And she is probably actually the best thing that's happened to me because, she gave me my baby. And I think I've said that before, but that doesn't mean that I don't mean it. I'm just reiterating. So that's where my girls are at. My work, it actually hasn't been too bad. I started doing this thing where you can sign up for classes, or you don't even have to sign up for most of them, but you pretty much do classes online, and it's through, I work at a GMC dealership, so it's through GMC. Like they pay you to learn how to do certain things on cars, and most of it's simple stuff like brakes. I mean, I know most of what goes into a brake system and how it works, and what I need to do to diagnose and replace things. But there's probably 10 hours that you get paid for each, maybe even more actually, that you would get paid for taking these classes and then doing tests for them. Sometimes if I feel confident, I'll just take a test and then I don't even have to do the class for them, which is great because then you'll still get paid the hour, and then you don't even really have to do anything. You just have to take a test, which is a lot of times very easy. But yeah, so that's where I'm at with work. I have still been working on cars, still been living the American dream, the classic 9 to 5 with okay pay and a shitty boss and whatever. This is America. Donald Glover taught me that. And yeah, so that's where I'm at with work. Personally, I've been doing really good, I think. I definitely have my ups and downs, as all people do, I would say. And I don't know. I definitely have talked about it before, but I used to be a huge stoner, and I have not smoked weed in now well over a year and a half, I would say. And then I also stopped drinking while my wife was pregnant because I was doing it out of sympathy mostly. And then once the baby was born, we started drinking again, both of us. And I definitely took to it a lot more than my wife did. And then we had an incident with our daughter, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. I'm not trying to say that I did something horrific. I would never lay my hands on either one of them, but I had a few drinks, and then my daughter got hurt, and then I haven't drank since, other than if my wife and I go out for a date night, I'll have a drink, but other than that, I will not do it. The only exception to that was my grandmother passed away this week, and I decided that I wanted to have a drink that night. And it was just just something to take my mind off of it a little bit, and so that's what I did. And I'm a lot happier, I would say, without the drinking. It's not a good thing for me or for my family or for my wife. None of us, we don't need that. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it's not something that I want to keep in my life. So my My grandmother, she was 89 years old. A very sweet woman. She lived a great life, and I'm glad that I got to know her. And I'm glad that she got to live a long, fulfilling life. I'm just sad about... It's not that I'm not sad, because of course I'm sad. I lost my grandmother. I feel like a piece of shit when I think about this, or when I say this to my wife, that I haven't cried about it, but it's not that I'm not sad. It's that I feel like it was something that is not a good thing for us, but a good thing for her. Like, I know people always say, oh, they're not suffering, but she broke her back like 2 years ago maybe, and then she was living in assisted living for the rest of her life, and then it just kept getting worse and worse, and then last week she fell and she got hurt, and then she got sick, like she just got a really bad cold or something, and then it just kept getting worse, and then they called me the other day, and that was it. My grandmother passed away, I guess peacefully in her sleep. I didn't really ask too many details, but I'm also not the best with that kind of thing. I get really weird around death, as I think most people do. I'm not trying to say like I'm special. I'm just saying I feel a certain type of way when it happens, even if it's not someone I'm super close to. Which I would say me and this grandmother weren't like the closest, but it's still sad, and it still makes me feel a certain type of way. And like my dad, so my dad's father, he passed away when I was maybe 2. I don't even know if I was 2. I was really young, but he is the first image that I remember. I remember seeing his face and him holding me. And when I was a little kid, I thought that his face was... I was raised religious. I don't necessarily believe or disbelieve in any of that now, but I'm not like practicing or anything, and I probably never will be. But when I was a little kid, I used to have dreams, or when I would pray, I would think about his face. I thought that his face was God, my grandfather's face. And it wasn't until I was older and I realized, like, I saw pictures of him, that it was just a memory that I was living off of, and that was my grandfather. And he passed away slowly and painfully, the poor thing. He had ALS, which, if you don't know what ALS is, it basically, it takes everything. It starts with like your motor abilities, and then it turns into your speech, and then it turns into your brain, and basically he just slowly lost everything. He used to be able to, from what I'm told at least, I obviously wasn't around for it, but he used to be able to hear a melody or a song or something, and then immediately be able to play it on the piano. I don't know exactly what you call that, but he never took piano lessons. None of that stuff. It was just like, that was just how his brain worked. And then as ALS kicked in, he lost everything. He couldn't play the piano anymore. I think he ended up in a wheelchair because he couldn't walk around anymore. And yeah, it was a slow and painful death. And since then, my grandmother's been alone, and it's been 20-something years. So, not that it's a good thing, but she's not alone anymore, and she's not suffering anymore. And if there is a heaven, then she can reunite with my grandfather and all their dogs, and and they can be together again. And if there isn't, then they'll still be together in physical form in the cemetery, which the funeral is Thursday, and I'm recording this on a Tuesday, and yeah, so that's where I'm at with my grandmother. I don't know how to show emotion until it's too late, and then I have to show emotion, because I guarantee you, once we go to the wake or the funeral, I'll be a blubbering, sobbing mess. I get really bad with things like that in person, especially when I'm around other people like that. I don't know. My mom had a cousin that I had never even met, and I saw my mom's aunt crying, and I just burst into tears. This was like, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, but I had never even met the guy, and I was sobbing like that. So I'm dreading it a little bit, but I'm glad that we're all going to be able to celebrate her. Obviously, she was a great person. She lived a great life, and yeah, she had a great granddaughter, and then my cousin and her husband, they had a baby a little bit less than a month ago. So she had 2 great granddaughters by the time that she had passed. But yeah, it's just a little depressing, but such is life. It's loss. I really feel bad for my dad, because now he doesn't have either of his parents. Not that, I don't know. It's been a while, and he's gone through it before, so I'm sure that he knows how to handle it a little bit better than I would. But I can't imagine being without my parents. My dad and I have always had our issues or our differences, but that doesn't mean I don't love him. And my mom was, the closest person to me until my wife. So I don't know. But I'm talking from my perspective. I also wasn't raised by them. You know what I mean? They raised him in a much different time where I feel as though families weren't as, not that they weren't close, but I feel like I don't know. My dad has never said I love you to me, and I think that, or at least not that I remember, and I think that is a little bit telling about how his parents raised him. But yeah, so that's where my life's at right now. I don't know. I've still been thinking about it and thinking about how I've been feeling, and obviously, that doesn't help. But it as shitty as it is having to go to work after finding out about your grandmother dying, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because it took my mind off of it at least a little bit today, because I didn't have to think about, or I didn't have to hear my wife, as much as I appreciate it, I didn't have to hear her saying, oh, how are you? Are you okay? Do you need anything? Do you want to talk about it? Like, I do appreciate it, but I don't need to talk about it. Well, I guess I did talk about it with you guys, but it's all stuff that I've told her. I'm happy that she lived a long life, and she had a big family that, loved her. She had 3 kids of her own, and then, 5 grandkids, and now 2 great grandkids, and yeah, I don't know. So my wife and I, we were discussing, because we didn't know if we should bring our daughter to the wake and the funeral and stuff, and so we decided on bringing her to the wake, because we can just leave. Like, I mean, I don't necessarily need to or want to hang around there for the 3 hours that it goes on or whatever. But she'll at least be fine for an hour or so. But at the funeral, I don't think that it's necessarily the best thing to do to bring her there. So we decided that we're only going to bring her to the wake, and then we might go pick her up from the babysitter to bring her to the lunch after the funeral. But so we have this shirt that it wasn't my grandmother who made it, but it was my grandmother's friend who made it. And so my cousin, ever since she was a little kid, she's been calling our grandma Gram Slam. And so my grandmother's friend made my daughter an outfit when she was born, and it's the size that she's in now, and it says, "I heart my great Gram Slam." So we're thinking about putting her in that, and I don't know. It's not black, but I feel like it's a little different with a kid, and we'll still put black pants on her or whatever, but I don't know. So that's where we're at. We're mourning. We got shit going on, such is life. I'm just glad that I have my girls to keep me sane. Coming home and seeing my baby girl smiling at me and giggling at me, and man, she gives the best hugs, let me tell you. If you've never hugged a baby, man, especially your own baby, oh my God. Once your baby starts grabbing you or trying to, grab your neck while you hug her, oh my God, it's like, it gives me butterflies thinking about it. Like, she's the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I love her more than I thought I could love anything. And yeah, I'm just really grateful to have both of them, my daughter and my wife. I couldn't do without them. Anyways, sorry for being a little bit of a downer today, and I'm sorry if you truly care and you have been missing the KeithTalks podcast. I'm sorry about my 2-month hiatus, but like I said, I like to hyperfixate on things, and then, I'm really, really into it for like 2 weeks, like really, really into it. Like, if you don't remember, I was literally making podcasts for like 2 weeks, and I released 9 of them or something, and I had a 10th one recorded that I will never release, but and then I after those 2 weeks that I'm really into something, I'll either never pick it up again, or I'll pick it up again in like a few months. So if this is the first and last time you hear from me in a little while, it's probably not because I died. It's probably just because I got a little hyperfixation issue, and yeah, I can't keep a hobby for more than a month. But yeah, if you're still listening to this, I appreciate you, and I love you, and you're beautiful, and yeah, thank you for being here with me. I appreciate it, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And tune in whenever the next time is for Keith Talks if you want.